So we are talking about Surf Sunday, and I want to say before we get into it, thank you for everybody who is investing in our church and serving by the way that you give. And, you know, part of worship is what we give to God, and thank you for worshiping God so well and giving to God. Horst Schultz knew from a young age that he wanted to work in the hotel industry, so he got his start, like most people do, as a dishwasher and busboy. But what changed Horst Schultz's life is one day, as he was just on a break from dishwashing, he saw the maitre d'. This is over in Europe. Maitre d' is basically like the manager of the hotel. They're in charge of everything. They have all this weight and responsibility. They got to make sure the rooms, they got to make sure that the valet, they've got to make sure that the clothes and all of the linens, everything regarding the operations of a hotel are running smoothly. And this maitre d', Horst noticed, was out in the restaurant in the middle of his busy talking with the people, asking them how they're doing, asking how they like their stay, asking if there's anything that he could do to make their stay more enjoyable. And he said that those guests were so touched and blessed that a man of such status would come and talk with them and want to serve them. And he learned that day, and this is a quote from a podcast that he did with Craig Rochelle. That day I learned that the greatest leaders serve. The greatest leaders serve. And from the bottom rung, Horst Schultz served his way to the top, traveling the world over, working in five-star hotels along the way. And in 1983, he co-founded the Ritz-Carlton hotel chain. I think he learned a little bit. Of course, when you think about what's the greatest hotel for service that's worldwide, you go to the Ritz. The Ritz. How did the Ritz get such a reputation of service? Because the people that founded it, they became excellent in service. Christian, hear me today. Do you want to do something great? Do you want to be a part of something great? Then learn how to serve with a right heart and learn how to serve excellently in what you do. It's near impossible for you to serve other Christians and serve your community if you haven't first gathered together with other Christians. The gather is the huddle. This is where Jesus, as our divine quarterback, gives us the play, and then we say on the count of three, Jesus, and then break. 1, 2, 3, Jesus, we break, and then we go out and we run the play. It's impossible for us to go out and run the play if we haven't gathered, if we haven't huddled, if we haven't met together, if we haven't gotten our marching orders from God. We do that on Sunday. We do that in our small groups. We do that at different times throughout the week. We gather, we huddle together, not for the purpose of just being in a holy huddle and staying there all the time, but so that we can get our orders from God that run the play and do something with this. And so we see that it's impossible to serve unless we gather together. Let me say it another way. There's a lot of people in LA, there's a lot of people around the U.S. that say, hey, I'm a Christian, but I just really have a problem with the church. And I got to tell you something, I understand why people have problems with the church. I've got problems with the church. But I want you to know something, the church, first and foremost, is God's. It's not mine. It's not a man-made institution. It's not a man-centered. It's a Christ-centered. And because of that, I will always be a part of it. But here's the problem. When you start arguing, when you start saying, hey, I got this problem and that problem, what happens is people distance themselves. It's impossible for you to serve if you're not gathering and identifying with the people of God. And so I want to encourage you that if you ever meet a Christian who's just out there saying, using all this hip terminology, hey man, well, it's just me and Jesus, and I don't need to be a part of a church, just say, well, I guess you don't have the great opportunity of being able to serve much, do you? Just go ahead and ask him that. Because one of the great opportunities of being in a church is learning and growing as a result of actually stepping out and serving. The way you work yourself up is actually to serve your way up. And as you keep serving, you become a better and better servant, helping more and more people to become free. I propose to you that the freest people on the planet today are not those that are independent, that don't have a care in the world, that don't have to do anything for anybody. It's like, man, I am free. No, 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 no. Do not confuse independence with freedom. See, next month we're going to celebrate Independence Day. Well, you can be independent but not be free at all. And there's a lot of people that are very, very independent. Like they don't have to do anything for anybody, and except maybe when they go into their job. And when they're done with their job, they're like, I'm back to my independent freedom. Can I tell you something? That's not freedom. That's bondage to yourself. Let me tell you what true freedom is when you're free to serve. Free to serve. You know that your heart has been set free. When your heart is, God, I'm open. The song we sang, use me, Lord. Lord, make new wine out of me. Do something great through me. I'm here to serve you in your kingdom, Lord. That's when you're truly free. See, let me say it this way. If the world tells you that you become great by putting yourself forward to be recognized, clawing your way to the top while pushing others down, being self-centered and self-focused, in the kingdom, you become great by lowering yourself and becoming the last of all and the servant of all. It's just the opposite. And I wrote this down for your PowerPoint for you guys. Maybe take a little picture of it on your phone. If being great in the world means being served by others, in the kingdom, being great means serving others with a heart of a servant. Okay? So Jesus is saying to his disciples, it's okay to be great. You notice Jesus does not reprimand them for having this discussion about who's the greatest, but he said, here's how you become great. So let me just, you want to be a CEO in your corporation? Do you want to do you want to work your way up the corporate ladder? Do you want to be a manager? Do you want to be an owner of a company? Christian, let me tell you something. Don't do it the way the world does. Do it the way Christ says. Serve. Learn how to serve. Get better and better at serving. Let your serve elevate. Get better and better at helping and serving others.